some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Saturday night edition of Stupid O'Clock. Madness and Mayhem. That sounds like this bunch.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I was committing a bit of mayhem today when I was working on the hand truck, but it was mechanical mayhem.
Dan, have you ever been working on something that you just, before you even know what you've done, you've picked it up and you've thrown it halfway across the yard?
No, but I've done that at work. I once turned a broom handle into toothpicks because some of the plastic bags were stuck together so badly that I had to peel each individual bag apart.
Ooh.
And when you're doing like 1,200, 1,300 bags an hour on the machine, and they have to be able to open up to sleeve themselves, it gets a little aggravating when they're wet and stuck together.
Well, I had a pair of channel locks that laid on the roof till they replaced it.
Until they replace the roof.
Yeah. Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
And we done lost Donna.
I got to work on my magnetism.
Guys, I have discovered Hawaiian shirts and I love them.
I cannot believe that company just sent me an ad.
What company?
I'm not saying. Not on the air. Lindsay wanted something. I ordered it. They sent it. It arrived. It had all the parts. It was child size. Not an entirely useful device. Yeah.
But the ad looked good, huh?
She certainly thought so. It's like, oh, I'm going to get a new Kenmore oven. You get one from Easy Bake.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm going, if this sucker lasts a couple of weeks, I'll be really surprised. But at least the batteries look like they fit on the little mini chainsaw. So,
Now, I saw something the other day. I'm sorry, I got to sneeze.
Don't trust it.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I was trying to say bring Zach in, but it.
I know you're allergic to me. It's okay.
No, but I was showing
it's
him.
church camp he's allergic to.
Me too.
You know, Zach,
I'll have the rash.
I've got a new shirt. I got a Hawaiian shirt, and I love it.
Yeah.
Must have been free.
You see what's on it.
I do. No, he spent good money on that. That was probably something like $29.99.
25.
Okay, not terrible.
$24.99.
I still haven't been to a Buc-ee's. I still need to
I
do
haven't
that.
even seen one.
I've driven past it numerous times. I always remember it. One exit once we passed it.
Dan, coming up 75, exit 310. I promise you, if you go in there, you cannot get out for under $50.
It's like Walmart or Costco.
And the brisket sandwich, oh my God.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, if I had to take Lindsay, I'd say yes.
No, if you take
but-
Lindsay, it's going you're gonna drop $200.
Oh, if I walk in by myself, I'll just get a Slurpee and walk out or whatever, you know.
No, no, you got to look around, especially
don't-
when you see this wall of jerky.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm talking, Dan. You have to ask one of the associates to get their long reacher to get to the top row. It's like 9 feet high by 40 feet long.
I'd have to take my dentures out of the freezer.
No, you just pop this stuff in your mouth and it melts.
See,
It's
I
more-
want to see Dan in a Buc-ee's onesie.
Come to Helicon, you'll see me in a kilt.
I almost bought the onesie, but the butt flap
That's
is
the best
decoration.
part.
It's decoration.
Oh,
It's not functional.
that's disappointing. It used to be. It definitely used to be.
Hello,
There's
Chris.
Me and Chris went to what's called the Gothic Market today down at the Trade Center. And all I'm going to say, y'all keep watching the chat. We had a what the fuck moment.
That sounds about right.
No, Joe, I don't. The guy had a lampshade, a purple lampshade with the little danglies.
Mm-hmm.
Up on his head. Then he's wearing a witch hat with it.
Sounds
Okay.
fabulous.
Had on the rainbow Care Bear socks pulled up over his leather pants.
I'm
Oh, I'm not even there yet, Joe. He had on a black lace thong teddy.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Over his black leather pants.
No, under. He did pull them up, but you could tell it was the thong. And Dan,
gentlemen.
take off the glasses, and it looked like you. No.
I get you.
No. Honest to God, Dan, he was at least your age.
Gentlemen, I'll be right back.
That was enough for Joe.
Well, no.
You gotta go find a bucket.
You
I actually
totally
need to go
wanna-
help my wife on her stream real quick because I
Okay.
think Brett took out one of the cameras.
Okay. Dan, I'm talking even to the beard.
Oh,
It was, yeah. Now watch this.
made Dimitri cringe.
Yes.
Those colors were not coordinated then.
Oh, no, Dimitri. I was over there. I knew he was coming up the aisle, so I went over and I was talking to Dimitri. And, I just saw Dimitri go, I said, Dimitri, have you ever had one of those what the fuck moments? He goes,
I think I just did.
and then the guy walked up to the table. And I'm, sort of standing at his booth, and I was looking at all the pictures. Sort of keeping, visual movement out of the peripheral. And as he walked off, I said, I love that Jack and Sally picture right there, right next to the crow and the Jaws takeoff he did that said gums. It was the shark coming up to get somebody on a surfboard riding a hover round. And I looked down at Dimitri. I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, No.
May never be okay again.
I said, "Did you see the socks?" He went, "Socks? No, no." I told him it was the Care Bears rainbow socks pulled up. Oh, Dimitri took off his hat and started rubbing his head. He goes, "Oh, you just made my head hurt." No. I said, "I didn't do anything. He's the one wearing it." He goes, "You didn't have to point it out."
Yeah, Joe Dog, you did. I know you that well now.
No, I came walking back to Donna and Robin, and I went, they go, "Are you okay?" I'm going, have you ever had one of those what the fuck moments? They said, "What is it?" I said, "I'm going to sit here. I want y'all to find it. And all I'm going to say is look for a witch hat." And a couple minutes later, they walked around the corner. And Robin was going, but then, they turned around and walked up something a little bit, and then they walked back over, and then they started down. About that time, Chris walked up. So we had to point it out to Chris.
Well, if you have to suffer, he's going to have to suffer too.
Yeah. And I came back from Dimitri's booth laughing. Chris was scared.
No, Chris, if Joe said rich hat to me, I'd be looking for a pimp walking around.
Yeah, it just was like, holy fuck.
Now, Chris, do please make a note of this. If that fella ever shows up at Helicon, that's automatic permanent ejection from the site.
No, I'm at least going to let them hang around for a few hours.
I hope you ain't going to feed them. They'll keep coming back. You hadn't thought of that before, had you?
No, I was just thinking of them being there.
Actions have consequences, Joe Dog. I keep telling you.
Oh. Chris just nailed it. And I didn't want to take a picture because I didn't want to look bad.
You didn't want that image on your phone.
No, not at all.
Ooh, okay. This is what he does instead of OnlyFans. Got it.
It hurt, Dan. It hurt. Oh, I weep for this world. But honest to God, I have some gay friends that were there, and one of them went, well, that just put us back 20 years.
So, yeah.
Oh,
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 that was like Poodle Girl that I was talking about in the green room last night. She was real cute, and her boyfriend or husband or whatever their relationship was, he wasn't ugly, but my eyes didn't drift to him. So,
oh, and also the guy was skinny as you, Dan.
that's
With,
about 50 pounds overweight.
well, no, he was skinny.
But I ain't. I just look that way because I dress in baggy clothes.
But the little belly looked like he was about 8 months pregnant. And the view from behind, if he laid down on his belly, we could play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my!
Just spin for initiative.
No, it was that flat.
Well, at least you know you're not going through rocky terrain.
Oh, skunk! Hey!
Yes,
Nice.
was there.
Oh, Chris, there are a lot of people skinnier than me these days.
I think I found a new stupid clock shirt. I like this. They're comfortable.
Why do you think Nick wears them all the time during his show?
Mm-hmm. I think I managed to clean the curry off of this one. Lindsay had a curry that we had for lunch, and I was about halfway through. I looked down. There was one noodle laying on my shirt, and I'm going, "Oh, fuck, I'll never get this thing clean now." But a little bit of water on a washcloth and some scrubbing, and I think it came out. So
Now, just what is curry?
uh,
I know it's a British delicacy or whatever, but
it's pretty much their favorite thing. It's originally from India.
okay, so it's like Indian curry.
Yes. Imagine the hottest chili you've ever had in your life, even hotter than John's. No carrots, but it's got noodles and vegetables in it instead of beans and meat. But you can put beef or chicken or whatever you want in there for meat. But let's just say it's best to have small bowls of it because you're not going to be able to stand the heat for very long for each serving.
Wow.
Half an hour later, you're going to want more. It's like Chinese food in that respect. Half an hour later, you're going to want more, but you can't take the heat in large doses. And what she fixed was a medium.
Well, I've heard you also remember it the next day.
Nope, didn't take 2 hours.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's why you want more 2 hours later.
It's completely run through your system in about 2 hours. Yeah.
There's
No,
also
I
a
was.
lot of sweet curries now. We got like we can buy like brown beans here with like maple sugar or maple brown sugar or whatever. Over there they have like brown beans with curry or brown beans with like tomato sauce. And the curry's so good.
It is
McDonald's
good.
has a curry dip for like fries and nuggets.
It is good. I'll grant that. It's like I said. It's it makes a habanero taste mild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know the guy that developed the habanero,
Yeah.
developed the ghost pepper.
Yeah.
And the ghost pepper eventually got too hot, so he made another one that makes the ghost pepper taste like a jalapeno. It's called Pepper X.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he sat on that one for a while too before he actually submitted it.
Yeah.
Oh, you just reminded me. I had a look at my pickled pepper jar in the refrigerator. And I've had that jar full of diced peppers for so long, it looks like they're onions. All the green has come out of the peppers. And I'm going, you know, I should just pour the vinegar out of there into a bottle and start over with a whole fresh batch. Um,
A friend of mine grew the ghost peppers. He said, well, I want to make, the hot drink. So he got some rot gut vodka.
that's not good for that. You need tequila. I speak like as if I were a bartender instead of just a drunk.
2 weeks later, the ghost peppers were white. You pull the cork out of the bottle. He put it in that Crystal Skull vodka. Crystal
Yeah.
vodka. Skull. You pull the cork out of that, and I mean, arm's length. Boom. It's your nose is already assaulted, and your eyes are beginning to swell.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever tell you about the pepper shine my neighbor and I distilled?
I think
Yeah,
you might have
Chris.
mentioned it in the green room once, but I don't think you've ever mentioned it on air.
Yes, Chris. It turned white. Got all the hot stuff out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Crap, I don't remember what row I left off on.
Oh, and you don't have a list like Trey does.
Nope. Now I know how she feels. Shit.
Well, only thing to do, pull it all the way out, start all over again.
No.
Yep. About as far as I made it last time, too.
Go ahead and tell your pepper story.
So my neighbor and I, my neighbor wanted us, first year we had our garden, wanted us to plant some hot peppers for him. And part of that was so he could make like a salsa verde.
Mm-hmm.
But he also wanted some really hot peppers because he wanted to try and make a pepper shine. So we planted cayenne, jalapeno, poblanos, banana peppers, Carolina Reapers, and ghost peppers.
Well,
All
poblanos and banana peppers are really mild, so that ought to balance out pretty well.
they are mild until things start to cross pollinate.
Ooh, yep.
because these were all in very close proximity to each other. So, which they were still, I mean, for the most part, they were still mild, don't get me wrong, but you could tell they had a little more heat to them. So we took a bunch of the peppers, put it in with the mash, let it ferment, and we went and popped that lid off, started distilling it, and then went, it'd probably be a good idea to open up the garage door right now. We got done, started getting the batch out, and we decided to test it. And both of us are wusses, because those cheap bottles of water you can get like for 99 cents at the grocery store, they got like the really tiny cap on them.
Yeah.
That was the sample size we took of
the little tiny cap. Yeah.
Product.
Yep. And it had extremely great flavor. Okay. You could taste the different peppers in it. It went down like kerosene. I don't know if the burn was from the peppers, the fact that it was about 85%, or both.
Well, it was both, because the 85% burnt your esophagus, and then the peppers just rubbed the salve into it.
Kind of like the whole salt in the wound type thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yeah, the
but I will say this: we gave it all away. We weren't ballsy enough to actually drink it. We told a DJ at one of the clubs about it, and he went, "That would make a great Bloody Mary, spicy Bloody Mary. Well, I'll bring you a bottle." So I took one up to him the next night. Saw him 3 days later. I'm like, "Hey, how was that spicy Bloody Mary?" He goes, "How many more jars you got?" "Got 3. Why?" Hands me $50. He goes, "Go get them now." All right.
We can grow more. No,
that was one and only time we did that, because even with both doors open on that garage, it was rough.
I found volunteer tomatoes out next to my new barn today. It's a wonder I didn't have the barn parked right over them. But I was outside. I had just finished putting the new solid rubber tires on the hand truck, and my next door neighbor is in his backyard, starts popping off rounds from a 22. I heard the first one. Long delay. I go, well, maybe he saw a snake. Then I heard 2 more in quick succession. And just to let him know I was there, I hollered back over towards his yard, "Hope you got him." About 5 minutes later, he come walking up to my barn and talked my ear off for the next 45 minutes.
Okay. So it wasn't a screen cap. It was.
Yeah, no, this is live on her channel right now. After Brett decided to knock her camera off, which is why I had to leave, he has now taken up residence where she normally shows her crochet at. And he's just as happy as can be.
I imagine so. Judging from the facial expression, he's very comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
And got the scritch.
Hey, if Trey wanted to pet you, you'd stand still. Deny it if you will.
I love that look. Like, hey, what the hell? Hey, I was
That was my pillow.
I was asleep.
Oh,
Oh, I had fun.
he's such a little shit, but I love him.
I had
Yeah.
fun the other day. We found Bella's little collar. Bella was a chihuahua, a teacup chihuahua, and she was so tiny that we bought her one of those Dollar Tree cat collars and literally had to cinch it up to the point it wouldn't cinch up anymore. And we'd put it on her with it snapped together. Just slid it over her head. Well, I got it and loosened it up a little and put it on one of the cats. You know, with a little dingly bell.
Mm-hmm.
Needless to say, it didn't go as well as I wanted. Especially when the other cats came up trying to play with it. And she was seeing the paw slap at under her chin as aggression.
As you do.
Yeah. Luckily, I was able to grab her and get her away and hold her down to get it loose.
We had one of those on one of the older cats, one that's sadly no longer with us, but we still have the collar. And she was proud to wear that little jingly bell. She took it as a challenge to bring us back um, mice and rabbits and everything else going, hang a bell on my neck. I can still hunt. What's your excuse?
That reminds me. My niece, look, God bless her, had a friend. I mean, we're talking the militant vegan friend.
Mm-hmm.
Got her cat on a vegan diet.
That'll kill a cat. It'll kill a dog too.
I said, that's not good for. They said, well, there's the proteins and all that from other plants that'll. I'm like, okay. I said, do you let your cat go out and restroom and all that? And she goes, yeah. He'll go out and spend 4 or 5 hours outside every day. All right, no problem.
Cats hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the cat don't bring her nothing back. I'll just put it to you that way.
Hell no.
Damn
Bitches feeding me vegetables. I'm gonna go kill something.
Well, I did have a cat that we had to make her own ear of corn on the cob.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cats and dogs will fight over corn
An
on
ear
the
of
cob.
corn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you didn't make her corn on the cob, she would take yours off your plate. Them little buggers is fast.
Yeah, they are. Um, Mom used to can corn, so we would have to sit there as as an old fashioned country family and shuck the corn and cut the tip and the heel off of it and get as many of the strings off of it as possible, the corn silks. And Mom would then cut it up, put it in a mason jar, boil it, seal it, you know the drill. Um, but the cats and the dogs would fight over that corn cob for the last few remnants of kernels of corn that Mama's knife left on there, or if you found one that was, oh, this has got all kind of brown on it. We don't want none of that in our food. Cut the entire end off and throw it down. And the cats got to the point where when the hornets came by to hunt the flies that were swarming around us because of all the smell of the sweet corn, the cats would be going, one paw on the corn cob, the other paw swatting at a hornet, going, "You ain't getting my corn cob."
I'm pulling something up here. Doo-doo-doo.
Why do I keep wearing black pants?
Well, shit. Sorry. Pardon my language. I screwed
Mm,
up
Again.
again.
This is not unexpected. Well, it turns out I mounted my my first security camera too high under the overhang on the eaves of the house.
Mm.
The lip of the eave of the house sticks down way too far into the camera point of view. So I'm going to have to go out and unscrew the mount and then re-drill the hole someplace lower
Yeah.
and put it back. It annoys me. It annoys my wife. It annoys whoever it is that keeps walking by the house and keeps triggering the human detected walking through the field of vision.
It's just one of the forest spirits. It's fine.
No, it's not even a deer. It's just a car driving by too slow.
So, what brand have you got?
What brand have I got? I've got the owner's manual. I need a fucking microdot reader to look at. Arum back.
Oh, okay.
They're okay. The mounts are kind of limited, but they're okay. The manual is singularly uninformative. There are controls for this camera that I can't figure out what do anything. There's one that looks like it should, if you actually had to hang it upside down, would rotate the view until it was right side up.
Mm.
Doesn't do shit. Of course, I've never tried actually putting one in upside down and then trying to rotate it.
I was gonna say maybe it has a ball bearing or something that senses.
No,
Not fancy enough for that.
not fancy enough for that. No, all it's got is a universal joint. You can point in one direction, and that's it. But I noticed a problem when I was out in the backyard today mowing the yard. Went up and I looked at the skirting underneath the eaves of the house, and I go, "Ooh, that's about a foot shorter than the ones in the front. I may just have to get my masonry nails and put out a piece of wood where I want to put this thing. Just drive it right in the bricks."
Oh, where'd you go, damn it?
I'm right here.
I don't know. He
What are you
goes off
looking for,
sometimes, but
Jodo?
I'm always right here. Oh, and y'all wouldn't have gotten that Herbert Heinlein reference. I mean, Joe's old enough, but I don't know what he reads.
Mostly computer manuals.
Not you, the other Joe.
Oh,
Usually the shampoo bottle in the bathroom, the back of the cereal box.
I
You
stay
get the
away.
one that calls the 1-800 number on Head and Shoulders.
I stay away from that since I know who actually runs it.
I don't even know who runs
What
it.
are you looking for, Jodo?
Something awesome, Zach. Ah, there it is.
A check for $1 million with my name on it that won't bounce.
Never gonna happen.
All right.
I can dream.
I mean, really, $1 million these days will buy you a 12-pack of Coca-Cola.
True. You can't buy a big mansion anymore for $1 million. The lottery houses are now 2.5 to 3.5 $1 million houses for those like children house lottery things that they do. It's a fundraiser. I always thought, why don't you save the $3.5 million? Don't build the house and just give that to the charity. Because guess what? People can't afford the $150 for one ticket. Oh, now he's yelling at his computer. This is going to be a very extensive joke, I think.
We'll just sit here in silence till he gets done, just to annoy him.
Dan, you could never do it.
You forget, I've been married 3 times. I can be silent. Sometimes I have to make a Waffle House run at 4 in the morning.
all right. At least I know where I stopped at. Hands are starting to cramp trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, Zach.
I didn't do it.
You
I know
will.
nothing. I see nothing. I know nothing.
I got to check one thing real quick.
Oh Lord.
Just to make sure I don't want to misspeak here.
Is this on what we were talking about earlier before the show?
No.
Okay. I'm very confused.
Somebody else showed. Oh no, that's you pulling up your thingy.
It's John.
Hey, John.
Do you recognize what that is, Zach?
Yeah, super heavy.
That is one of 8 sections.
Correct.
That is 11 inches tall.
Yep.
Again, that is one of 8 sections.
So
That's
gonna
11
be-
inches tall.
So the super heavy booster is going to be about 7 feet tall. 7.5 feet tall.
The booster.
Yeah. And you got to throw the ship on top.
Yeah.
So you need a 2.5-story house.
Just about. That is 2.5 rolls of filament.
Jeez. And how long of a print is that for the one of the 8 pieces?
A day and a half.
Until
Solid?
the nozzle clogs up.
Is it solid or is it like partially filled or?
Oh, that's solid.
Okay.
Come on, where's my?
Day and a half. That ain't bad.
No,
That's not terrible, no.
but
You sure
two
that's solid? At a day and a half?
I got it on high speed.
Okay.
Oh,
Got a
I've,
thick wall.
I've got it on high speed. It's already in progress.
What kind of pattern are you doing on the inside of it?
I'm looking for that. Hold on a minute.
There's the support, a grid.
Yeah, where'd you see? Yeah,
Up a little bit. There you go.
yeah, grid inside.
Okay.
Support density 0.
Yeah,
It would use more filament if you actually put any support in it.
Well, don't you want
Yeah,
support
but this
on it?
wouldn't.
No,
This
there,
wouldn't need
infill.
support.
There we go. No, go down. Infill. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go.
Oh,
Infill. Infill. Oh, okay, 15% in a grid
Okay.
pattern. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yep.
I was like, there's no way you're printing that thing 11 inches tall with only two rolls of filament or roll and a half of filament.
yeah. But the lower on the
lower
right,
ones we do more solid.
well, I'm also going to fill them with copperhead daisy BBs too.
Not gonna be able to move the damn thing, Joe Dog. That thing's
he'll
gonna
be
be like
able to.
this big around.
Yeah,
He'll be able to move it. He'll just get John to do it.
So is it
Alexa,
V2 model or
Alexa, how wide is 189.7 millimeters?
189.7 millimeters?
That's 7 inches around.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
And I'm gonna build it where you see those little holes right there that at the top.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drill a little hole in it and put neodymium magnet in it,
Yep.
and then put the little block that holds it together. Then drill another neodymium at the top. That way they can all stack together.
Yeah. So you
Good
don't have to
idea.
glue them.
And
Yeah.
then pull them apart.
Yeah, especially at that height, you're gonna want that.
I just want to have it set up to where. Go ahead, turn that off. I've also got the tower and launch pad.
Nice.
I want people to walk up to it, at conventions and go, "Fuck."
Do you remember when SpaceX first got started? They were talking about the wire capture thing.
Yes.
Where they bring the rocket down. You noticed that China has copied it?
Oh, of course. China copies Starship. Why do you think suddenly Starbase is a bunch of buildings and not tents? The FAA called and they realized that Starbase was a walking, talking ITAR violation for 4 years.
FAA or Defense Department?
All of them.
What's the difference nowadays?
That'd be NSA, I believe.
It'd be all of them.
MOUSE, Mickey Mouse. Oh,
I'm not sure who does making sure you're not getting spied on.
Probably the entire alphabet soup in Washington on Starship.
Unless you're online, then nobody does.
Have you heard about the? I can't remember if it was Lockheed, Northrop, or Boeing that put a bunch of fake stealth fighter information on a computer, and allowed China
To
to
hack
hack the computer and steal the information, and they spent billions on this thing, and then it turns out it don't work. So it's
Sounds all right. Any guesses what this is?
That is probably a space station.
I was gonna say a bunch of little 22 bullets, but
Those are a specialized version of a starship ship that then get docked together, and it's 1,000 ships that could be docked together and house. I think they estimated it's 50,000 people, but because of the size of the ship and the circumference it would be, at the rate that it would spin, the entire space station would have 1g gravity.
that's cool.
Spinning it. And because Elon said, in the next few years, the idea is that each gigafactory could crank out 1,000 ships a year. In theory, they could make this in a year. Make the ships outer shells within a year.
What is it? 5 ships thick?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like 2 ships, I think, deep. So there's got to be some sort of shell, like grid docking thing.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably got docking arms or something. Yeah. But okay, it's 5 deep. Can you imagine if you keep adding to it every year until it's 6, then 7, then 100, then 1,000 deep, and it's a big damn orbiting cylinder?
Yeah. I was about to suggest that, and then you
just
put a fusion drive system in the center with a framework to keep it in place, and you've got a generation starship.
Noah's Ark 2.0.
Well, I don't know about that. You might get to where you're going and find out somebody's already living there, but
wow. This was an idea someone floated on X a couple of days ago that I was like, that's actually like a lot of us have thought about, like, one starship is the equivalent of all of the livable space on the International Space Station. So having 1,000 starships within a year, let's say 3 years, we couldn't even comprehend. The best part is you could launch one of these and it's just like a whole Waffle House. And you got a whole Dollar General, you got a Starbucks, Tim Hortons combo.
Okay. I just had a brilliant idea. Well, it might not be that brilliant. Put your big Mylar mirror in the middle. And if you do it like one of Robert Forward's, if you do it like one of Robert Forward's separating solar cells, where you can actually put on brakes and slow down when you get where you're going.
Of course,
it would be an excellent. It would be an excellent solar cell starship. It'd take a long time to get going, but with that kind of circumference, you'd probably be able to get fairly decent.
You'd get moving quite a bit faster than I think we'd think.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking, and that thing is probably 5 miles wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it ain't that wide.
I don't know if they said more. I'm just gonna pull up what they said.
Is that 2 starships thick?
That's 2 starships thick.
Okay,
yeah.
So a starship is what, 105, 115?
Something like that. See, this is the other. Okay, here. It's 1,000 meters, 1.34 rotation, 1G. 1,000 meters, that doesn't sound like enough, because it's 100 and... Well, no, it's 42 or something, or 52 meters tall?
Well, 115 feet would be about 33 meters or 35 meters, somewhere in there.
Well, they're 30 feet wide. Times how many ever's in the middle.
Where
is it?
What, you got to go live? Oh.
No. I'm pulling up the new one. There. They updated this last week. 123 meters is the full stack.
So
Where's
we need just Starship.
just the ship.
Yeah, the full stack's never going to make it all the way. There you go.
52 meters.
52 meters.
9-meter diameter.
Okay. So we'll just say 50 meters because, like they said, it's a modified Starship.
Yeah, it's not going to have like the point or the flaps, or it'd be more rounded. So yeah, 50 meters. So you're at 100 meters with 2 plus a couple meters.
Yeah.
Even say 105 meters. And then you've got, yeah. I don't even, someone knows how to do this math.
Wait a minute. What did you say the diameter of each one there was, and how many of them are there?
They're 9 meters in diameter, and there's 1,000 of them total. So
Okay,
so divided by 5.
If it's 1 kilometer across, that's about right for 1,000. That's 1,000 meters. So if each one of those is 100 meters,
Yeah.
No, wait. Did we say it was 100 meters high?
100 meters. If 2 of them together.
Yeah.
100 meters.
Both rows of the ring are together 100 meters.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
making my brain hurt.
Here's a horror story for you. Someone like Joe gets on board and has a gas attack.
See, that's why you do this.
It doesn't do anything because it's spinning and it's 1G.
See, you
It
have
just
this.
kills everybody in the next 3 compartments.
Then this compartment detects it, closes this door, and jettisons, and then everyone else is fine.
So never be alone. Okay.
Then
No,
I
never
guess they're
be
not
off
going to
with
have. I
someone
guess they're not going to have any
else.
Taco Bells on board the space station. Huh?
This is how I always figured it would be. You would build like this sausage ring, and then you would just be docking starships
To either side.
But shouldn't you be docking it nose in instead of backed in?
Depends on how they're designing it.
What makes you think they're not nose in, Joe Dog?
Because the picture he was showing, it was all nose out.
Yeah.
Well, that was an illustration for size.
This is what Vast is doing, which these are dragon-sized modules to start. But then they want to do starship-sized modules like this in the end. So see, if Vast built these, but built them that they could accordion, like just have a slight tilt, you could then dock starships, like one starship per starship sized. In theory, you could actually have 3 if you really wanted. One this way, one this way, and then in a big circle.
Well, Starship would be the perfect thing for it. You put 4 docking ports or 5 docking ports.
Yeah.
On it. And then you could just start Legoing the damn things together.
It'd be 6, 1 on each end. And
Well, you've got all the engines and everything on the other end.
Yeah. Now
you
my question.
don't have to have. Once you're in orbit, you can jettison the engines and use them for something else.
You'll still need engines to keep it in orbit.
Yeah, you have to do raise maneuvers.
You don't have to have as many. You can move them to the undersides.
That is true. Yes.
People forget I engineer stuff. As a science fiction writer, I engineer stuff. I'm not.
Well, if you're bored, SpaceX is hiring.
I'm not bored, and I got more money than Elon anyway.
Probably true now.
Because none of my investments blow up.
I love that they updated some of the website, but then haven't updated most of it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should call them on it. Hey.
because they released like the big Mars update thing, which now isn't even on their website. I love it. Where is it? Is it still here? Yeah, there.
Did he ever announce any plans for trying to terraform Mars, or he's just gonna
We gave up
put
on
up pressure put up pressure domes and cope with the ultraviolet and the thin atmosphere?
This is so cool.
You'll have to dome it.
Next
Well,
year.
that right
Well,
there.
you would at first, but
I think that right there, Dan's going to be the first bipedal thing navigating Mars.
That's next year. If everything continues at its current trajectory, by the end of next year, Starship will be on Mars with Optimus.
I wonder if Starship...
How many are they sending? Just one or two, or?
Let me find it. Can you pull me down and I'll pull up the video, and then I'll just make sure the video's muted. Actual.
All right. Here you go. Bye.
Wrong thing to pull down.
Well, he said pull him down.
I meant the screen share down.
Okay. Well, you said me, so I did.
Well, I don't have music playing.
Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum.
Well, I have tried to watch that Starship presentation about 8 times.
keep going to sleep.
Something about Elon's voice.
Okay, you can pull my screen share back up.
All right.
I love the new look of the booster. Totally not what I was going to pull up for you, but it looks like Falcon.
Yeah. There's no protection around the booster engines.
Yep.
I got a
Raptor 3
feeling
doesn't
that's going to be a bad thing on the re-entry on the first flight.
And then the new hot staging.
Yeah.
Ring. And ship. Where's the schedule? There.
Of course, that would say...
and we're going to make it bigger just because we can.
Well, if you get rid of that ring around the bottom of the booster, you cut a lot of weight.
Yeah. But that also creates a parachute to slow down. I can see that thing coming in backwards with those engines just hanging on that little bitty hole.
Yep.
I mean, it's a hole about yay big holding it on into a parachute, and I can see it coming back in, and them engines just start peeling.
Well, I'm surprised they don't do it already anyway. I mean, they're still getting hit by air, but...
What happened? I didn't do it. How did John become a big boy? Okay. And I didn't pull Dan. Dan, did you pull yourself down, or? Okay, I'll pull you back up.
Joe did it.
No, for some reason I used the wrong keyboard.
Okay.
Good night, Carl.
Come on, Carl.
Good night, Carl.
If you pull that, there you go.
There we
We
go.
finally got more renders of Starship for the future, like official ones, which we haven't had in years. So,
I'm still iffy on that right there. Having the elevator on the outside like that and those little teeny tiny landing legs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not that small when you see them next to a person. But
Well, the thing is, me and John are sort of mechanically inclined on the engineers. There needs to be another leg underneath that elevator.
That elevator, yep. They need to have an extendable leg right there, just so it won't lean that direction.
yeah.
Either that or they're going to have a counterweight on the other side where everything is released and elevated down.
That was one of the designs at one point, was 2 elevators.
See, that would make sense, actually.
That was one. That wasn't an official design, but that was like someone took this, and then like people were running with it. Of like, well, that wouldn't actually be that difficult to implement.
No,
a double-sided elevator system. But this is Moon, so you've got your cargo and then you've got your crew. The biggest thing is everything from this black line down will basically be empty.
Yeah.
They'll just be they'll be empty tanks filled with helium.
See, that's even worse because all the weight's up top.
Yeah.
Well, that's just asking it to fall over.
Well, you know what you do? You make the top a hopper where it just kind of flops to one side and then unloads the cargo down a ramp, and you've got your empty tank to use as part of a building.
Well, what I don't understand is why they don't have interchangeable tops.
Bingo.
Yep.
I mean,
what if you think they do and they just haven't said it?
Do what?
What if they do and they just haven't said it?
Hadn't started talking about it yet.
See, that a modular design.
I don't think modular, but I think it's the bottom 3/4 of a starship. Every single one's the same no matter what. And then in manufacturing, they just pull a topper and it goes on. I don't think you can swap them, but I think in the manufacturing, you could have just 100 of each topper and you're like, oh, we need a crew one. Okay, ready.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you'd be swapping the tops on and off. Could you down the road remove the top from a ship and place it, somehow build like a crane structure to remove the living quarters and lower them to the surface?
And then send the ship back.
Yeah. I say they should be, I mean, almost, you've got the engine, pretty much the engine, and then the cargo. Cargo tops should be interchangeable.
Yeah. You asked how many they're going to send, John. These are the next 4 windows and tells you how many landers are going in each.
Now, the thing is, though, you're going to have different bottoms also to do, because you're going to have a moon lander, you're going to have a Mars lander, and you're going to have an Earth lander.
Yes.
Okay, because of the gravity of the atmosphere and fun stuff.
The moon's the only one that won't have flaps. The Earth and Mars ones will have flaps.
Yeah, they got to land.
But what's insane is these numbers of they're going to send 10 tons per ship in 2026, and they're going to send 5 ships, and each ship will have a fleet of Optimus bots on it.
I am really shocked. We need to talk to Waffle House and Dollar General store and see about getting them to sponsor a top for these things. Okay,
right? These were the numbers.
Hey, Whataburger's expanding. Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's on Mars.
Buc-ee's needs to sponsor the fueling station. Okay, that's just
but what do robots like to eat?
Good question. These last 2 are the 2 that kind of broke the internet when this event came out. Because 2028 sending 20 landers, you're thinking each lander needs 5 to 10 refueler ships. So you're talking a couple hundred ships by 2028-29 window. Though that sounds like an incredible amount of ships, they're talking about building 3 ships a day by the end of the decade in one factory, and they'll have 2 factories online by 2028. So 200 ships actually isn't a lot, especially when you don't need 200 ships. You need 20 plus maybe 10 or 20 refuelers that you're just cycling. So you don't actually need hundreds. We were not expecting an announcement that the plan is in 2033 to send 500 starships to Mars with 300 tons of payload per ship. And I was like, huh? Oh, okay.
Elon's got to get it done before he dies of old age.
Yeah. And then they released some renders of what it'll look like. I want his shirt.
Show that
this
shirt.
Is the part I don't get why this didn't break the internet. We have the first official Mars base alpha landing sites pinpointed. That's a big deal in advancements of humanity. and none of the world cared because it came out of Elon's mouth.
Now,
If anyone
Well,
else's mouth,
okay, well,
it
hold
would be
on.
front
But
page of like New York Times.
is Point Alpha actually like they know that's where they're going to go for sure? Or is it just the these?
One of these
Was it
dots is where
7?
they will build the first base.
I imagine there'll be a lot more,
For the moon,
fanfare.
yeah,
I imagine there'll be a lot more fanfare when they say, "Okay, this
one
is."
I mean, for Artemis, which we're 3 years away from that landing,
If
we're
they're
down
sending-
to 13 sites right now.
If they're sending 500 ships, they're probably going to need all those bases.
Well, and that's one of the things. If you read the payload for the 500 ship one, the one 2 years before that is 100 ships, says road infrastructure. Which would then make more sense that you're building these highways on the surface all closer together.
Yeah.
So there, it's Mars 2026. We'll send Optimus, which is funny because this sci-fi was the idea of we need to send robots to pre-build us our bases for the first bases. And it's like, oh, well, now it's just easy to. Mars 2028 will deliver the first infrastructure. And I mean, these are identical versions of the moon one, just they have the flaps so that eventually, and re-entry heat shield, so eventually they could come back to Earth once we can generate fuel on the surface.
yeah, you can do that. It just you got to have some powerful compressors and pumps and
Taco Bell.
And Taco. So they're showing, what the
They do run on
autonomous
methane.
rovers-
Okay.
which you can strip from the carbon dioxide
love
of the
that.
atmosphere.
I love that picture, Dan.
Yes, I remember the original.
That's all robots.
Yes, I know. And you know what's going to happen? You'll get these robots up there, and then first
Are you
time
sure?
they start sending people, the robots are going to say, Mars is robot only. No humans allowed. Start shooting ships down.
Optimus likes humans. This is
So
also
far.
That's
first-
what they all say.
This is the first renders of Mars Link, which has been proposed to NASA a couple years ago. And I don't know if this is implying that they're going to put relays at different points between the planetary bodies. Because obviously, as it says, we range in distance quite a bit from Mars, depending on the cycle. But to have it down to at 22 minutes, but as low as 3 using Mars Link and Starlink. And then these were the first renders. We've never seen a render from SpaceX of inside a starship. And these were the first ones that we got of what living in a 9-meter body or 9-meter system will look like. People also really like that. We don't think it was intentional, maybe. This somewhat looks like a modern version of X social media. It looks like it's probably also supposed to be some like analytical data, but it also looks like you might be scrolling like an X feed. Just walking
Like
around
anybody does that
on
anymore.
Earth.
Do you know anybody that uses that platform anymore? I don't.
Yes, everybody on
It's
Mars.
one of the biggest social platforms in the world now.
There's you a good question.
How are they going to protect the robots? Well, we love you, robots, but respectfully, after 5 or 10 years, we're probably not going to care about you. We'll upgrade you. Sounds terrible, but long run, you were talking about burying stuff, Dan. These are the first renders they've also put of showing these underground facilities.
Yeah.
But they're talking 10 launches from Earth a day from multiple launch sites. 250,000 tons per transfer window to Mars.
That sort of makes sense.
Now, when does Starbase Vandenberg kick in?
See, it's back and forth on if it ever will, and the reason is Vandenberg, you're always launching against the direction of gravity. So it's not as nearly effective. It would make more sense to build Starbase Italy or Starbase New Zealand that you can launch east.
Or Starbase Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia would make sense. Eastern Canada. It's a hot topic right now. Greenland. It'd be more polar, so it's not as effective. You normally want to be closer to the equator.
Yeah, don't
But-
they normally use Vandenberg for polar orbits?
Yeah, normally. But they
Oh.
have done a few missions from there that
What
were
about-
equatorial.
What about Hawaii?
Too small.
What do you mean too small?
For the size of these factories and the space that they need. So that was one of the things. I think they have the picture here. I think there was a last picture. Yeah, so there's the spaceports. Where is it? Where's the Gigafactory image? I'll find it here quickly.
Way back there at the beginning.
It was quite early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Propellant transfer, that's something that next year has to be proven.
Propellant transfer, you mean in-flight refueling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
just trying to
technically-
understand.
There.
Technically, it's not in flight; it's in orbit. Or well,
There. So this was
Are they in motion, John?
technically.
Then they are in flight.
They're not in active propulsion.
They may not be in atmosphere, but they are in motion.
Yeah, Chris just dropped the biggie.
And that is where one of the biggest questions, and with the whole thing that's happening with Jared Isaacman tonight, is one of the big questions. And the simple answer is, if Elon and SpaceX make a dramatic step, they would be the first company to sign the Artemis Accords. If they agree to sign the Artemis Accords, they agree with 57, I think, other nations now, that there is no ruling government and that no government agency owns the land, under the land, or above the air of any planetary or space body other than Earth.
And
It
you
is a
actually
agreement.
think Elon's going to sign that?
Yes.
I
He
do.
proposed it.
I do think we will see
Double bluff. I love it.
I think it will, and I think it's because it's the only way to prove that it'll work. That does not mean there isn't a so within the Artemis Accords, it's a big but small document. It covers a lot of big theories, but in minimal writings because it's such a it's basically our template for the Federation, legitimately. And within it, it says if America builds a base and China has a base next door and China has a pressure leak, and China and if China signed the Artemis Accords, they have not at this time, but if China did and China has a leak, America has to respond in the best capability to help that other nation. But they have you treat it almost like embassies. So the Chinese couldn't just walk into the US buildings like the space station. Right now, if you want to enter the Russian side of the ISS, you have to be invited in by one of the cosmonauts. You can't just float into it. It is still technically Russian territory. And that's basically how the theory is. No one will be able to stake claim to land that this is American soil, but it will be, this is an American capsule. Or more likely what will happen is this is a SpaceX capsule. This is a Blue Origin capsule, and go that route.
See what John's got pulled up here.
okay.
We only got about 6 more minutes. So
Zach, I want to show you something. I want you to do some homework on this if you don't already know. Bring that up for me, Joe. All right.
Cat Hill.
Mm-hmm. Ascension
Good
Island.
Good name for it if you're going to put a rocket base there.
I wonder if NASA still owns that property.
What did they ever use it for?
Probably the Mercury and Apollo and all sorts.
Tracking stations.
Tracking
Okay,
station.
it was a tracking station. It wasn't like a launch site or anything. It was okay.
Well, there's a perfect name for a launch site.
Yeah, really. Ascension Island's launch site. Yeah.
Devil's Ash Pit. Okay, I like that. But no, I think this is a volcanic island.
Yeah, it looks it.
But it looks like I'm not sure what let's see what they got the terrain down on it here.
Relatively some flat areas.
That's kind of hill. That's a big hill. That's a big hill. And that is, there's a hill.
There's some regions that you could. I mean, there's campsites. I bet you could drop a Street Viewer guy. There's probably a picture.
Well, that almost looks like a face.
It does. You go back to the satellite one. There's probably something by 2 boats or something.
Say Jamie Farr. Just because of the nose.
Hey,
apparently Google has not gotten there.
There.
It's kind of pretty.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, let's not mention any of the older stars anymore, because I swear on Wednesday somebody did something about Loretta Swit, and she dies 2 days later.
Sister's Peak, and they've got the boxes with logbooks in them, so that's kind of neat.
Huh.
So you can go up, if you climb the mountain, you can sign the logbook.
I'm trying to remember what the island is in the Asian islands where they have already said they're building starbase for the military. If you go
Diego Garcia?
Is that the one, Joe Dog?
That is an Air Force base.
No, it
Air
wasn't.
Force and Naval base.
It's further east, John. It's more like Atlantic. Or not Atlantic, Pacific. Down near some Solomon, somewhere in there.
The Solomon. There we go.
Not Solomon. It's not Cook. It's further east. It's a tiny little. Wasn't America Samoa? You zoom out more. I know it in relation to Hawaii.
Oh, there's Hawaii.
It's,
Johnson Atoll. They did a lot of.
They're building starbase there. It's been already approved.
Yeah, because this was an old Air Force base long ago, and you can see where they did the. You can see where they did the dredging to make the islands bigger.
Yep.
All those dark spots.
So that will become the first Starship military facility, because that opens up landing anywhere in the Asian continent within 20 minutes with up to 1,000 tons.
Do you know what the last thing this island was used for?
I read it not long ago, but I'm like
disposal of chemical weapons. They had a incinerator here for getting rid of nerve gas. After they got done getting rid of all the nerve gas, they tore down the incinerator and all the facilities for it. Just scorched earth.
Abandoned the island.
Cleared the whole thing off, and the only thing they left was the old runways. And you see the X's on the runway?
Don't land.
Don't land here.
Well, they're gonna have to. Or they're gonna have to send some big ships.
It does have a large port facility, though.
Yeah,
that's one of them there.
All right, guys. I hate to.
Yeah. Okay.
We're running out of time.
So
we'll see. It's gonna be a fun decade.
If I live through it.
Oh, you will. You better.
Chris said Moratius, Moratius, or whatever. Yeah, but I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I've read Jules Verne, and I still can't pronounce that word. That was an island he used in one of the books.
Mortidius.
No,
That's how Chris spelled it. Martidius.
it'd be more like Mortitius.
That'd be the Mars version of Titusville.
Oh
Martidius.
no!
It'd be great.
Yeah. Tell me Titus is not moving to Mars. Oh my God! That's the last thing you need is a sarcastic comedian.
I don't know.
And also an update. We broke a 96-year-old rainfall record.
Wow.
We
Foot or damn rain this last month. All right.
we still got 34 minutes. We could add some rain to it.
Yep. All right. Let me find the right. Oh, I just got to hit that button now. Okay. With that, we're gonna have to say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Zach, you gonna hang around for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will talk to all y'all Thursday night. Y'all have a good one. And say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand, and touched the face of God.